Kane Voss was 34 years old, and he thought he had everything figured out. The wedding invitations were already in the mail. The honeymoon was booked and fully paid for. Both families were arguing over flower arrangements for the reception tables, and not a single person in either family was worried about whether the wedding would actually happen. Everyone just assumed it would. It was supposed to be a sure thing. Then one quiet evening, his fiancée walked into the kitchen, looked at him with an expression he had never seen on her face before, slowly slid the engagement ring off her finger and said something that would echo inside his chest for a very long time. She told him she could not spend the rest of her life with a man who just fixes other people's airplanes. He actually waited for her to laugh. He was completely convinced she was joking around, but the laugh never came. Instead, she placed that shiny ring down on the cold kitchen counter, and then she did something that genuinely confused him. She smiled. Not a sad smile, not a guilty smile. It was the kind of smile a person gives when they have finally put down something that was too heavy to carry. She told him he was a good man, but that she deserved someone who was actually successful. Then she picked up her expensive designer suitcase, walked straight out of the apartment they had shared for years, and let the door slam behind her without ever looking back. Here is the part that almost nobody knew. Kane was not simply an airplane mechanic. Yes, he wore oil-stained gloves. Yes, he genuinely loved crawling under a massive engine just to understand how it breathed. That part was completely true, and he was proud of it. But when his grandfather passed away, he did not just leave Kane a small repair shop. He left him 42% ownership of a company called Etherwing Aviation. The board members always pushed him to start dressing like a billionaire, to sit in glass offices and talk about stock numbers all day. But Kane was never interested in performing wealth for other people. He was interested in the machines. He was interested in the people who built them. Money, to him, was simply something that allowed him to keep doing the work he actually loved. He had met Seraphine through a mutual friend at an aviation event. She planned luxury parties for wealthy clients, and she was magnetic from the very first conversation. She was sharp and funny and full of ambition, and for a long time, she was genuinely proud of him. She used to tell people that her boyfriend worked with airplanes like it was the most interesting thing in the world. But slowly, almost without either of them noticing, something started to shift. After a big promotion at her job, every conversation began to revolve around status. She started talking about yachts and penthouses and private clubs and people who got interviewed in magazines. One night, she asked him if he ever wanted more. He told her honestly that he was already doing exactly what he loved. She did not smile at that answer. Then she met Ronan Ashcraft, a wealthy investor who was always appearing in business publications. She started mentioning his name constantly. Ronan thinks this way. Ronan owns that. Ronan only flies privately. Kane tried to ignore it, but the distance between them kept growing. Then one night, she came home very late, sat down without apologizing, and quietly took off her ring. She told him she had been thinking. She told him she could not marry a mechanic. She said she needed someone who matched the future she was building for herself. Then she said the 4 words that cut the deepest. She said she deserved someone successful. She left without shedding a single tear, and the apartment fell into a silence that somehow felt louder than anything she had ever said. 3 weeks passed. Kane threw himself into his work the way he always had. Then the board at Etherwing called. The founder was officially retiring, and they wanted Kane to step into the role of chairman. He said yes, not because of Seraphine, not to prove anything to anyone, but because the timing finally felt right, and he knew he was ready. Under his leadership, the company expanded rapidly. They acquired 2 smaller aviation firms, modernized the repair facilities, and signed major contracts with some of the most respected companies in the world. On Fridays, Kane still fixed engines himself. That part never changed. About 3 months after she left, Seraphine's event planning company landed the biggest contract in their history. Their new client was Etherwing Aviation. She was thrilled. Her boss told the entire team that the chairman was known for being extremely professional and that every detail had to be perfect. She spent weeks preparing. She bought a new suit. She rehearsed her presentation until she could deliver it in her sleep. On the morning of the meeting, she walked into Ethering's newest facility, feeling completely confident and composed. Then the announcement was made that the chairman had arrived. The main doors opened slowly. A silver jet rolled smoothly into the building. The stairs descended, and Kane stepped out wearing the same blue work jacket he had always worn. Every employee in the room stood. The top executives greeted him with complete respect. The papers in Seraphine's hands slipped and scattered across the floor. She whispered one word under her breath, "No." The meeting lasted 45 minutes. Kane was professional, focused, and fair to every person in that room, including her. He treated her exactly the same as everyone else, which somehow made it even harder for her to process. When it ended, she asked quietly if they could speak privately. He agreed, though part of him wondered why. They walked out to the runway as the sun was going down and painting everything gold. She asked him why he never told her the truth. He told her that he did. He told her he was a mechanic, and that was the truth. She said he never told her he owned the company. He told her, she never asked. There was a long silence. Then she started to cry, and for the first time since she left, he believed every tear was real. She said she thought he had no ambition, no drive. He gave her a quiet, tired smile and told her he always had drive. He just never needed an audience for it. She told him she had made the biggest mistake of her life. He looked at her gently and told her the honest truth. He said she never really loved him. She loved the version of him she had invented in her imagination, and those are two completely different things. She had nothing left to say. 6 months after that evening, Kane launched a training program to help young people build careers in aviation. At a graduation ceremony for those students, he met a woman named Eloin, an aircraft engineer who did not even glance at his private jet but immediately started asking questions about how the engine was configured. They talked for an hour straight and never once mentioned money or titles or success. Just the pure joy of understanding how things work. For the first time in what felt like forever, everything felt effortless and honest and right. A year later, he saw Seraphine at a charity event. She walked over, looked at Eloin, looked back at him, and said she was genuinely happy he had found someone who truly saw him. Then she admitted quietly that she had spent too many years chasing people who looked impressive and forgot to look for people who were actually good. They shook hands, and that was it. No drama, no second chances, just two people who finally understood something true about themselves. Some stories do not end with reconciliation, some stories end with clarity, and sometimes that is the most powerful ending there is.